this is from LinkedIn. Private investigators are supposed to be trusted professionals, trained, licensed, discreet, and legally compliant. But in recent years, fake PIs have flooded the market, leaving behind damaged cases, misled clients, and in some cases, criminal charges. They advertise for low rates, like $2.99 a minute, Sully. They promise the impossible. They say they can hack phones or follow anyone everywhere. They're not investigators. They are liabilities, and they are everywhere. The internet has made it easier than ever for unlicensed individuals to pose as professionals. They even carry fake credentials. Most of them are unlicensed and uninsured, lack legal training or field experience, engage in illegal surveillance or data access, vanish the moment things get complicated or legal, which is what's going to happen here. You could check Sully. We all know her name. You could check for her license in Texas and Rich Prater's, by the way, and neither one of them are licensed. Even though Danelle says Rich is a private investigator, Rich said he's investigated cases. He's never said he was a private investigator, though. He never said the words private investigator. He said, but I'm an investigator. I worked these cases. I've worked with some of the best, even in the John F. Kennedy assassination, where he took credit for his team finding a print on one of the boxes in the sixth floor depository in the sniper's nest. But I looked that up, and Rich has nothing to do with that. And he doesn't argue that with me, because I looked it up and I put it in video form. Liability insurance. Years in the business.
See? I'm hungry? Are you hungry? Come on, let's look at the rest of it. Come on. You don't want to leave the cool room. Come on. Good boy. Good boy. Come on. Keep coming. Come on.
She's trying to get the dog to go. So here's what I was told. Turn this over to the Texas DPS, and they got back with me. I was out. I was out and about, and they got back with me on the phone. They said that they looked into it, that she doesn't show a license, but it's a gray area because she's not charging money to investigate cases. So I said, whoa, wait a minute. She's not really charging money to investigate cases, but she presents herself as a private investigator on her YouTube channel. And at one point, she asked for $2.99 a minute or $2.99 a membership. That would lead people to believe that they're paying for a membership to someone that's a private investigator that has studied this case. That's where we're at with that right now, Sully. And another thing is that I reached Derek and Stephanie. Even though they saw my comments and put a thumbs up on it, they didn't really respond to it. But I told them, because Derek is a young and rising. I mean, he was a sergeant at age 20 in Rhode Island. He's very young, and he worked his way up the ladder by experience and work And he's not going to have any respect for that. So I told them, check with your license with the Texas DPS because you told him you were an investigator. And I know how, and the way I know is because he accidentally said, well, your friend Sully, the investigator, is sending me this stuff. So that means you have lied to these people right off the rip about who you are, and you're trying to send them stuff based on a lie. So I don't know what they're going to do with that, Sully. I really don't know what they're going to do with it. But I hope, see, their channel is more dedicated to politically correctness. Like them calling you out and going, well, you shouldn't do that, blah, blah, blah. And who do you think you are? That doesn't do good for their channel. See, they're trying to make money and they have to act in a certain way. That's why they let Danelle on. That's why Stephanie sat there biting her tongue. Stephanie was biting her tongue. She let Derek handle it because she didn't want to go off on Danelle. That's why. For the basics of the channel. So, and I'll tell you now, I'm talking to Rich, and Rich says he's going to do another YouTube video here soon, and he says he's going to clear up a lot of shit. I'd like for Rich to clear up how it got out that he was a private investigator. Now, you can go back to his very first video that he put on YouTube, the very first one, where he goes into the John F. Kennedy thing, said he's worked with some of the world's best. That would lead you to believe that he's an investigator. He is a web sleuth. He's a true crimer. He is not an investigator. And when they present themselves as if they're an investigator, and then they want to tell you about how somebody's not guilty of a crime that real investigators found her guilty from, I mean, there's a problem with that. There's a huge problem with that. You start off with a lie. All you have to do is show up. And people think you're an investigator. They think Sully's an investigator, so they think they should listen to him. They must know what they're talking about because they're investigators. And at the same time, these people, including Rich, are downplaying Charles Lynch's experience, downplaying David, and saying the police did shoddy work. James Crom was just this and that. You guys just want to be cops. You'd love to be a real private investigator. And you would know that in that field of CSI, you're not going to make everybody happy. There was a couple things that Derek and Stephanie shot back at her with because of stuff I sent them. They were ready for the James Cron. They was ready for that. I told him, I said, just look into his credentials yourself. Don't believe me. So Sully, you need to quit doing that shit. You're making Darlie look worse. And the other thing that Sully does is Danelle says we don't think that Darren had anything to do with it. He's not directly involved. Blah, 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 blah. But she'll allow her friend, who she said was her friend, to trash Darren. That way, when Darren sees it and says something to Danelle, I can't do nothing about what my friends say. I'm sorry. You want them to say that. You want people to keep thinking that Darren had this insurance scam set up on the house. You want people to think that Darren might have had something to do with it, but you don't want it to come out of your own fucking mouth. So you let your friends do it. So here's this. Your friend, Danelle, Sully, is disrespecting the father of Devin and Damon by accusing him of doing something that might have got them killed. Isn't he a victim too? Isn't Beja a victim? Beja loved them boys. Oh, they didn't like Beja very much. You said that. They didn't like Beja very much. So that means Darlie, didn't notice that her kids didn't like Beja and let her keep coming around and babysit. Damn, that's shitty parenting there. Anywho, Anywho, I'm about to blow you all away.